Okay, there we go. What the hell? Okay, well, like I was saying, I did dig into it yesterday, and you should be able to hear me now. I don't know what the hell happened there. So now I'm distracted because I was talking and everything went wrong, and then I fixed it. That's where we were. Okay, so got the audio back on. Everything should be good now. We are streaming. I know that you're still seeing me because you're telling me that you can hear me. I think everything is more right with the world. But of course, I had all that going and I thought I was good to go. And then the damn light overhead started flickering. So now I got to replace one of my studio lights, which this one's got to be redirected anyway because I'm getting too much. It's blowing out right here. I'm getting too much reflection here. Anyway, good morning and happy birthday, Uncle Steve. I normally don't say happy birthday on the show because, you know, OPSEC, but everybody, y'all already broke that in the chat, so happy birthday. But it's Firearms Friday, guys. Forgive me if my head got a little sideways because getting started this morning, of course, we started with technical issues, but we've made it. We got past the intro without getting thrown off of YouTube, apparently, so I'm good with that. Let's go ahead and do some DGUs. I've got UFC fighter Roman Tavares survives drive-by shooting. Fires back. Okay. Drive-by shooting. Returning fire is... That's a tricky question. Talk about a drive-by shooting. Personally, I would not return fire. The risk is so high that goes poorly. I would not return fire unless I had good reason to believe that unless I had good reason to suspect that the assailant was on his way back around. Unless I really believe that, okay, this guy's going to go around the block and come and take another shot. Failing that, because you're talking about basically unloading just down the street, shooting at a moving target around God knows what. Yeah, I would bias myself away from lobbing rounds down the city street. But anyway, this guy did Florida man. 4 minutes. Okay. UFC bantamweight Roman Tavares is fortunate to be alive after a recent drive-by shooting in Jacksonville, Florida. The 30-year-old mixed martial artist who earned his spot in the UFC by defeating Cortavius Romeus in Dana White's Contender Series last fall faced a life-threatening situation last week when he was targeted by an assailant in a drive-by shooting. Tavares, who is known by the moniker Savage, that's cute, shared the harrowing experience with his followers by uploading footage of the incident to his Instagram account. The footage can be viewed below. Wait. Okay, let's pull out a reader mode. Do we have the video? Boom! So it looks like he's walking out to the car. Okay. Okay, we're gonna watch it one more time. It looked like they got out of the car. Yep. Looks like two dudes got out of the car, opened fire. He ducked for cover. Oh, looks like he popped up and returned fire after. So in his post about the shooting, Tavares expressed a mix of relief and determination. I'm blessed and happy to be alive, he wrote, underscoring the gravity of the situation. His message also hinted at a potential move away from the Jacksonville area as he concluded with the words, but I'm leaving Duval. Uh, yeah, you know. Oh. The alarming incident serves as a reminder of the unexpected dangers that can arise, even for those who have made their name in professional sports. For athletes like Tavares, the ability to defend oneself is paramount, but the randomness of a drive-by shooting brings an added layer of unpredictability that goes beyond the training gym. Okay, so drive-bys. A drive-by is a targeted tactical maneuver. And there are some things that we can infer from that. Now, many of the things that we can infer from that can be obviated in this because Ramon Tavares. So Ramon here is a known entity, right? He has some measure of celebrity. People know who he is. So that drive-bys tend not to be random. I'm not saying it doesn't happen, but the tendency, the common thread between drive-by shootings is that there's a target. You know, you read a headline about some gangland drive-by shooting and a couple of kids get hit by stray bullets. There's a reason we refer to those as stray bullets, because it wasn't just some random act of violence. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not defending the criminal here. I'm talking about the way that intelligence can be, the way that information, trend, and data can be converted into actionable intelligence, which is to say, the identification and prosecution of a specific target. In the case of a drive-by shooting, that target being the culprit or culprits. And when we say culprit or culprits in something like a drive-by shooting, like I said at the beginning of this, drive-by shooting is a planned tactical maneuver, right? This is a very specific activity, which means someone planned it and decided to do it. Now, that plan may be as simple as, yo, if you see Ramon, put 5 rounds in his ass, and you've got marching orders out to the troopers, right? But that gives you that means that there is a who that had the plan and gave the order, and that is a piece of information that can be determined through the process. There's a who that actually executed the order, and those two people may or may not be the same person, right? So when you read the headline that says, that there were a couple of kids that took stray rounds, well, there was a target, right? There was a target of the drive-by. And it may even be that the target was not at the place where the drive-by happened, but the drive-by was done, even if it seems random, and it was just somebody drove by a group of kids playing in the park and opened fire. There was a target. That target may have been the general public, and the objective was not to cause the general public direct harm, but to send the message, hey, this place is unsafe, and so you should stay away from here. Sending the message, this place is unsafe and you should stay away from here, is also a tactically useful maneuver. The Army uses this tactic. We employ the combat engineers for that purpose. It's the same as putting down a minefield, right? For all practical purposes, in achieving your objective, putting up a sign, a fence and a sign that says minefield is almost the same as actually installing a minefield, because what you're looking for when you put down a minefield is you're not hoping that the enemy is stupid and just doesn't read the warning sign and walks into the minefield and dies, right? Now, there's some exceptions to that. Obviously, when you start engaging in guerrilla warfare, you make improvised explosive device emplacements that are intended to catch someone on a route. But a minefield is a very different creature. Thomas just beat me to it. I was about to say terrain denial. The point of the minefield is to say, hey, we don't want you to go here. You're going to go where we want you to go. You're going to use that road over there that we want you to use, that goes to that bridge that we want you to be on, because you can't go this way. There's a minefield. And the point is not to catch somebody in the minefield and blow them up. The point is to tell them to go somewhere else. Drive-bys could be the same thing. This could be somebody wanted Ramon dead. This could, as in for purposes of retaliation, because somebody he fought was butthurt about losing an MMA fight. I mean, these guys are professional fighters, and there's a certain something emotionally that goes along with being a professional fighter, and I can tell you with I'm a veteran, right? But even before I enlisted, I never anything quite this professional. I was only ever very much an amateur, but I did do mixed martial arts. I boxed, I kickboxed. I did competitive fighting. I fought with everything from bare fists, rattan, boffer, Nerf, live steel, all the way up to actual live firearms in war. If I'm being honest, I love it. And there's a little something that happens to a person intellectually and emotionally when combat and combat sport is a part of your life. At this point, I'm pretty far removed from it. I haven't seen the light go out of anyone's eyes in 12 years, but it is very much a part of what composes you as a person once you're a part of that world. And I don't care if you're a boxer, a wrestler, a fencer. Maybe not a fencer. They're mostly French. It's a joke. It's a joke, kiddos. I've actually done some fencing as well. Like I said, everything up to and including live steel and live fire. But there is a certain world there. And to some extent you become a part of that world. Tommy Gunn mentions like airsoft for force on force training, and it keeps you absolutely. I love, I haven't played airsoft in several years just as a matter of timing, and most of these airsoft guns that you see behind me. No, check that. All of those airsoft guns that you see behind me need some they need beyond maintenance. I need to gut most of them and replace the innards before they're operational again. But yeah, the targeted nature of a drive-by means that there is a culprit. There's either someone who there's either an and or someone who planned the maneuver, someone who conducted the maneuver, or that may be the same person. Waller, drive-bys are also used as a message to the allies of the target that anywhere, anytime, no matter who was around. Yes, yes, and like we saw in the yes, it can. Well, it's not necessarily a terror tactic. Willow Bar says it's a terror tactic. It's not necessarily a terror tactic, but that is one employment of it. That's what I was getting at. You know, it can be, okay, this is targeted assassination. We want this, you know, fuck this dude in particular. Right, we want this guy dead. Or it could be a, hey, denial of service. Right? You talk about a distributed denial of service attack. Ooh, yeah, the drive-by shootings, the original DDoS. Boy, there's a fucking T-shirt for you. I need to get the merch store back in motion. Okay, that's enough. That's enough on that one story. Oh dear, I don't like this headline, but here we go. Teen shot by armed citizen during robbery attempt in Phoenix. Phoenix, Arizona. Excuse me. Oh, excuse me, guys. In a recent incident in Arizona, that was weird. Oh, yeah, okay. I see when I sneezed, I knocked my headphone connection, my headphone wire loose. In a recent incident in Phoenix, Arizona, an attempted aggravated robbery took a turn when a teen suspect was shot by his intended victim. A teen suspect. A teen suspect. Guys, I haven't seen yet if it's going to get into it, but this isn't the first time we've seen a teenager get himself in trouble, get himself dead. Getting into some fuck around and find out. He found out. And it's heartbreaking. But yes, dear, I know they'll have clarifying information, but before we get to that clarifying information, guys, your kid's a teenager for about 10 years. And somewhere in that window, a parent has failed dramatically. Within that window of being a teenager, the likelihood that this kid got involved in criminality like this without there being the external influence of some sort of gang activity, some being involved with a group of people, right? This is either behavior that he learned from whoever his parents or guardians are, or it's behavior that has been endorsed and ratified by some other sort of social group. But armed robbery is not something within our current social structure that a person just picks up. Right? We live within we live in this fantastic fiction of civility, and it is our responsibility as parents to maintain, to upkeep that illusion of civility and freedom and prosperity, because it is an illusion, right? Reality is harsh, brutal, violent. That's reality. That we cooperate with one another instead of eating one another is a lie that we tell each other. And we have to tell that lie as hard as humanly possible. Or reality is brutal and brief. So it always breaks my heart when a teenager goes this way, because it is somebody's fault. And that somebody, yes, the kid made a bad choice, and the kid did make a choice, but it is a choice that was made by a kid that was not equipped to make that choice. right? This kid walked up to the table, and there are 3 similar-looking corn tortilla chips on the table, and a sign that says "Taste Test." And nobody told him, but one of those motherfuckers was hot. They're like, oh yeah, one of them's like Cool Ranch, and the other one's like nachos or something. But which one do you think tastes better? Oh, well, it's He was denied critical information, and that's how he became dead. In a recent incident in Phoenix, Arizona, an attempted aggravated robbery took a turn when a teen suspect was shot by his intended victim. The Phoenix Police Department responded to reports of gunfire around 5 a.m. near 35th Avenue and Indian School Road. Upon arrival, officers encountered a man who claimed to be the target of an armed robbery. Well, there was the first problem right there. It's 5 o'clock in the morning. The teenager did not just get up. He's up past 2. That's what happened there. According to the man's statement, he was approached by an individual who attempted to rob him at gunpoint. In response, the man drew his own firearm and discharged it at the suspect, striking him. As the situation unfolded, police began a search of the injured individual. Not long after, a teen contacted the authorities reporting that he had sustained gunshot wounds. Upon investigation, police determined that the injured teen was connected to the original robbery attempt, though the specific details of his involvement remain unclear. The teen was promptly taken to a hospital where he received medical treatment for non-life-threatening injuries and was subsequently released. Currently, no arrests have been made, and the investigation is ongoing as police work to gather more information about the circumstances surrounding the event. Okay, let me go back up to... According to the man's statement, he was approached by an individual who attempted to rob him at gunpoint. In response, the man drew his own firearm and discharged at the suspect, striking him. As the situation unfolded, police began a search for the injured individual. A teen contacted the authorities reporting that he had sustained gunshot wounds. Okay, this is a little... It's because it says the specific details of the teen's involvement were unclear, remain unclear. And the teen sustained wounds, plural, as in more than one, which tells us that if the intended victim did not fire more than once, which I suspect he did, I mean, I would, then more than one weapon was fired. And police determined that the injured teen was connected to the original robbery attempt, though the specific details of his involvement remain unclear. That wording, that language is strange and unclear itself. I'm not sure in this article, I'm not sure if they're telling me that one guy tried to rob another guy and got shot for his trouble, and that guy is the teen in question, the teen that they apprehended, or if one guy tried to rob another guy, got shot for his trouble, and rounds fired by one or the other, or even maybe both, hit a third subject who is now the one in custody with multiple gunshot wounds. So the language in this article is unclear and confusing, and that's because, I mean, from the way the article's written, according to the man's statement, he was approached by an individual who attempted to rob him at gunpoint. Upon investigation, police determined that the injured teen was connected to the original robbery attempt. So this individual that attempted to rob him could have been a grown-ass man. And the teenager just happened to be nearby, or the grown-ass man had the teenager with him. It doesn't say anything here about the race of the individuals, so you can make some clear inferences there. Obviously. In fact, it doesn't say anything about the race of anyone here, so everybody here is not white. Obviously. No, I take that back, because this is not an article from one of your major news sources. This article is from concealednation.org. It was written by one of their staff writers. So that's unfair. That's unfair. That would be the case. That would certainly be the case if it were from, say, the New York Times or basically any other outlet you've heard from. But the article itself was written off of another article by someone at concealednation.org. So I'll retract that. So let's do one more, and then I gotta put a pin in this and call my wife. So, armed citizen shoots and kills knife-wielding attacker while coming out of restaurant. Okay. We've got Democrats in this country right now who are screaming about banning all the guns. I don't know if you've heard this recently, but I can almost guarantee you've heard it at some point. It's better to get shot than stabbed. I ain't saying gunshot wounds are great, but stabbed is way nastier. And, well, frankly, you don't tend to get stabbed, right? That's really the problem. The gunshot wound versus the knife wound. You don't tend to get stabbed. You tend to get slashed. And when you're talking about somebody attacking with a knife, you tend to get slashed deep. It's just much more damage than a gun with one round can do, until you start talking about something like that Maw Deuce round there. So you start getting into larger caliber rounds. So yeah. All that said, you can't have guns in the UK. But what you do have in the UK is a wave of knife crime, the solution to which the UK government appears to believe is banning the knives, and surly ethnics burning down your buildings and raping your daughters. Hold on to your guns, guys. Don't play with that. Hold on to them. So, armed citizen shoots and kills knife-wielding attacker while coming out of restaurant. This is in Texas. A self-defense incident unfolded in North Austin when a robbery attempt escalated into a fatal shooting. On the evening of Wednesday, July 24th, around 10:30 p.m., Austin police officers were called to the Taste of Home handmade dumpling restaurant located at 10901 North Lamar Boulevard after a reported robbery. Caller informed the authorities that an individual attempted to rob him with a knife, prompting him to use a firearm in self-defense. Excuse me. According to the investigation, the incident began when Hao Lin, 51, left the restaurant and encountered 57-year-old Chuck Prum, who was on a bicycle. Prum allegedly pulled out a knife and approached Lin in a threatening manner. Okay, so at the beginning of this article, we're talking Texas, and I was thinking chicken and dumplings type dumplings, but apparently no. We're talking like mandu, manapua, dim sum type of dumplings, right? Okay, just we're all on the same, right? We've gone from True Grit to tapas. Got it. According to the investigation, the incident began. In response, Len drew his firearm and shot Prum. After being shot, Prum managed to flee the scene on his bicycle and returned home. However, his injuries were severe, and he later sought medical treatment at a local hospital. Prum succumbed to his injuries 4 days later. Oh no, that's a DOT. A dead over there. But, Prum fucked around and found out. Yo, I ain't gonna lie, I like me some dim sum. And some mandu, and some manapua. Don't come for my dumplings. I mean, I don't know how else to say that. You don't come for my dumplings. So, Len, hats off to you, brother. Good job. I like to imagine that you were in fact securing sustenance for a whole little army of. Okay, his name's Hao Lin, so that's he's not raising roof Koreans, but you know, closing in on that stereotype. Good for you, brother. The Jibun Hanguk is my favorite Hanguk. Okay, so let's go ahead and wrap this one up. Put another one in the can. It is Friday. We're going into the weekend. Beautiful weather today. It looks like. Y'all be safe out there. I know for my part, we're gonna be playing in the pool after I get some work done around here. Um, I've got I got to make a trip to the dump and got to handle some little these and those around the house before I get out the door. But yes, so y'all be safe out there. Don't drive drink. Don't fry bacon naked. Keep calm. Carry one. We love you, and I will see you on Monday.